When planning your raised bed garden, location is one of the first factors to consider. Bearing in mind that vegetable gardens will be most productive when planted in full sun, you'll want to choose an area that gets 6 to 8 hours of sunlight a day. However, if you don't have an area that receives that much sunlight, 4 to 6 hours of sunlight a day will be sufficient for many vegetables. Locate your garden away from trees if possible, so that tree roots will not compete with the flowers, herbs, and vegetables for water and nutrients. It is especially important that gardens not be located close to black walnut trees, since walnuts produce a compound in their roots, shoots, and leaves that is toxic to many other plants. Raised bed gardens may dry out more quickly and require more frequent watering than conventional gardens. Make sure that wherever you place your bed, water is readily available. At least 1 inch of rainfall or supplemental watering per week will usually be necessary to mature a vegetable crop. One solution to watering is to collect rainwater in a rain barrel. When watering, pour the water directly onto the root system and not onto the leaves of the plant itself. You can do this using a small scoop or container. Watering the entire plant, especially late in the evening, will allow water to remain on the foliage for several hours, which may promote disease problems. The garden beds are usually raised off the ground surface to a height of at least 6 to 8 inches. A frame to hold the soil can be constructed from materials such as wood, stone, concrete blocks, or bricks. Or you may prefer to simply mound the soil without a rigid structure. The use of treated wood for gardening is quite controversial. Some individuals are concerned that the chemicals in the treated wood may accumulate in the soil and garden plants. If using scrap lumber or other used materials, make sure you know if the lumber or materials are treated and what they have been used for in the past. Alternatives to treated wood include woods that naturally resist decay, such as cedar or redwood, also rock, masonry blocks, or synthetic materials such as Trex can be used. The size of the bed will vary depending on the gardener's needs and the space available. Beds are typically constructed no more than 4 feet wide, since this is the width that allows for an easy reach into the bed from either side. An aisle of 3 to 4 feet is maintained between beds to allow easy access with tools and equipment, such as wheelbarrows, hoses, chairs or stools, and wheelchairs. Raised bed gardens can be installed in areas that are difficult to garden conventionally, such as sites with shallow, rocky soil, steep slopes, or poor soil quality. One reason raised bed gardening is so productive is that you, the gardener, have control over the soil used in the bed. An ideal soil consists of equal parts of garden soil, blended compost, and porous material such as coarse vermiculite. If a good quality garden soil is not available, you can substitute additional organic matter. Once you have your soil mix, take a sample of the soil to your local cooperative extension office to have it tested. Depending on the test results, you may need to add lime or fertilizer. In traditional gardens, soils become compacted from tractors, tillers, and people walking on the garden. In a raised bed garden, the bed is constructed so that the gardener can easily access every inch of the garden without putting 1 foot in the actual bed. This eliminates soil compaction, which has been known to significantly reduce crop yields. Soils in raised bed gardens usually have better drainage than the surrounding area. So if you're looking for a solution for a poorly drained site, a raised bed may be the answer. Yard trimmings and food waste make up 20 to 25% of the waste going into landfills. This waste can be kept out of landfills by composting. Composting is a natural process that turns kitchen, yard, and garden waste into high-quality soil conditioner. Most soils have an organic matter content of 3 to 6%. By making compost and adding it to your planting mix, you can increase that percentage significantly. Organic matter provides nutrients for plant growth. By incorporating compost into your garden, you might be able to eliminate the need for chemical fertilizers. This saves money and also reduces the potential for chemical fertilizers to pollute our streams. There are several ways to plant your bed. You may choose to plant in rows within the bed or simply group similar plants together. If you plan to group similar plants together, you can create a grid to delineate areas in the bed. Wooden slats or recycled 4-foot Venetian blind slats can be used to create a grid. When using these materials, the ends of the grid sections can be screwed to the boards that edge the garden to hold the slats in place. When planting your garden, you can use bedding plants or seeds. If you choose to delineate areas for certain plants, the number of bedding plants or seeds you place in each area will depend on the size and space that plants need to grow and develop. When using bedding plants, make a shallow, saucer-shaped depression where the plant will be placed. This will help direct water to the root system. To get the most from your garden, grow different plants in each area. Don't forget one area could be devoted to flowers. When choosing what to plant, keep in mind that plant diversity tends to encourage beneficial insects and microorganisms. A monoculture, or the grouping together of the same or closely related plants, may encourage more pests and diseases. Including flowers and herbs in your garden will also increase the diversity of your garden and may help repel harmful insects. Remember that certain vegetables like spinach, lettuce, cabbage, and broccoli grow well in spring and can be planted in late March or early April. These crops are often harvested by mid-May when summer vegetables such as tomatoes, beans, peppers, squash, and corn are planted. Some of these crops mature very quickly, and it may be possible to make 2 or more plantings in a summer garden. For example, beans planted in mid-May will likely mature by mid-July. A second planting of beans can be made in mid-July to be harvested in mid-September. Many summer vegetables will be finishing up late August to early September, just in time for planting of fall vegetables. By preparing for 3 garden seasons, spring, summer, and fall, and planting in succession, the efficient use of your garden space will be achieved. You can train certain plants to grow vertically. This saves space and often results in high-quality produce. Tomatoes should be staked or caged to support vertical growth. Viney crops such as cucumbers, squash, or even melons can be trained to a trellis rather than allow them to sprawl across the ground. Finally, as you plan from year to year, remember that it's a good practice to move plants around in your garden. For example, if you have multiple beds, don't grow tomatoes and related crops like potatoes, peppers, and eggplant in the same bed for more than 2 or 3 years. Give the soil a break from tomatoes and related crops for a couple of years by moving them to another bed, growing them in containers, or not growing them at all. This will prevent soil pests from building up to high numbers that will eventually impact the performance of your plants. One of the benefits of raised beds is that the plants have been elevated above the walkway and less stooping will be required for maintenance and harvest of vegetables. A layer of organic or inorganic mulch will reduce weed growth and water loss to evaporation. A 1 to 2 inch layer of organic mulch, such as straw, will slowly break down and contribute beneficial organic matter to the soil. Designing your raised bed garden can be a lot of fun. For example, you can create a pizza garden and grow onions, green peppers, banana peppers, tomatoes, parsley, basil, and oregano. For a salad garden, you can include green peppers, cucumbers, spinach, cherry tomatoes, and several varieties of lettuce. Use your imagination and enjoy. Gardening is one of the most popular activities for people around the world. Providing food, herbs, and flowers for your table and enjoyment only adds its popularity. Focusing on the flexibility of these small space gardens show that almost anyone can grow some type of garden. People of different sizes, experiences, interests, abilities, and ages all can manage some type of garden. Just decide which kind you want and design it to meet your needs. Have teenagers build gardens for elderly people to manage. Grow gardens with lots of scents and textures for the visually impaired. Build gardens up on tables or sawhorses so that wheelchairs will fit underneath. Get out in the sunshine and grow.